All right, ready? Go.
Hi, this is Mike Duffy, and I'm doing the midterm in two separate parts. I'm doing the skeletal first, obviously, and then the muscular second. Kind of staying with the Halloween theme, being it's close to Halloween. Got a little smoke, and I'm going to use instead of using the standard skeleton, I'm going to use my special skeleton that, frankly, is a Halloween decoration. But the funny thing about Halloween decorations is it is anatomically correct as far as I always thought this was kind of amazing that they make a skeleton as anatomically in the right anatomic position and everything. So I'm just going to start from the top and kind of work my way down and hope that I get it right. Okay, starting at the skull or the cranium. The cranium has a few bones. You have the frontal bone up top, and it's really kind of interesting because you can actually see the cutouts for the frontal bone on this plastic skeleton. This was $9. This was what? I don't know what we paid for that. I can't remember. A couple $100, no, $50 or something. But anyways, frontal bone on the top, on the front. We have the parietal bone that covers the entire top. Usually they don't have a string coming out of the top of them. In the very back, you have the occipital bone. And on the sides here, which is really pretty obvious, is the temporal bone. Uh, Looking at this is the external meatus, where a lot of your inner ear canal goes into, and a lot of the hearing nerves come out of as well. Looking at the front, it's really well defined. It's the sphenoid bone with your sphenoid cavities behind it, and each orbit for the eye. We have a nasal bone up front, uh, the maxillae, top, or your hard palate, or the top part of your mouth. And then you have your cheekbones, which are your zygomatic arches or your zygomatic bones on the side. And of course, your mandible here on the top. Okay. One of the things also I like to point out is we're just going to go down and do the axial skeleton first. Actually counted this, and actually came out to be the right number of vertebrae. Starting at the cervical vertebrae, we have 5 cervical vertebrae, the top being the axis and the atlas, which helps pivot the head and turn the head, gives that kind of a pivot type of joint. So you got 5 cervical vertebrae. You have 12 lumbar vertebrae. I'm sorry, not lumbar, thoracic vertebrae. 7 lumbar vertebrae, and 5 sacral vertebrae, and 3 coccyx vertebrae. The last, the sacral and the coccyx are all fused together to protect everything in that pelvic area. Coming back around to the front, it's pretty interesting. You still have a pretty good example of the clavicle here, where it attaches at the nubrium, the top of the sternum, and then goes out to the Ackerman process here, where it kind of forms the shoulder joint. Shoulder joint is probably one of the most flexible joints that you have in your body. It's about a 360-degree movement on the body. We're going to go ahead and move down, then we'll flip it over and cover the scapula a little bit. On the sternum, it has 3 parts actually. You have the manubrium, you have the actual sternum body, and then you have the xiphoid process at the very bottom. You can see kind of a little bit on that one with the bolt sticking out. The ribs, we have 1 through 7, and these are vertebral sternal ribs that they actually attach to the sternum through costal cartilage. The next couple of ribs are the vertebrochondral ribs, and they are joined together through that costal cartilage, and they all attach at just 1 or 2 points. Next couple ribs here, which this is a really good. This is only showing 1 set, but you actually have 2 or 3 ribs, I believe. 2 ribs, I believe. And these are free-floating ribs, and they're really just attached back at the vertebral bodies in the back. There's no attachments to the front. The ribs obviously protect your your things in your abdominal cavity, your thoracic cavity, like your lungs and your heart. They're really there just to provide protection. And there's also some muscles, which we'll cover later, that help to breathe and expand and contract the rib cage itself. Going back around, we're going to cover the scapula. These are your scapulas here. You have the acron process here, where everything goes in. If you could pull this off, there'd be a little cup shape at the end of the scapula, and that's the glenoid cavity, where everything kind of forms in, and the top of the humerus actually goes in. They're all held together with tendons and ligaments. Scapula, spine here, subscapula fossa here, I believe it was called. Inferior angle, superior angle. I think there's a whole lot else I can cover on the scapula there. Going ahead and moving down the bone, of course, this is your humerus. See, this little plastic skeleton works really good because I can move it around. This one I'm afraid I'm going to drop and break, and I don't want to do that. It'll look good on my desk someday whenever I become a doctor or something. But what we have is your humerus. You have at one end, on the inferior end, forms the elbow. So it's a hinge joint, what you have here. Of course, on the superior end, you have the head of the humerus, which also makes the shoulder. It's one part of the bones of the shoulder. And that's about all I can say for the humerus as far as bone goes. Moving right on down, we have the radius and the ulna. Radius being the outside one, the ulna being the skinnier one on the inside, but actually forms the end of the elbow. It's that part that sticks out for your elbow. Moving on down from there, we have the carpal bones of the hand, which make up the wrist, and then the metacarpals, which are the next bones inferior to the carpals, obviously. And after that, we have the phalanges, which form the fingers. Moving right on down, and flip it around here, we have the hips, or the ilium and the ischium. The high part of the hips are actually called the ilium. As you move down, this is your pubic symphysis. The ischium forms the bottom part, and the ischial tuberosity is actually your butt bone, and that actually provides a point where your femur hooks up, the femur head hooks up to the body. Excuse me, I'm going to move your hand out of the way. Maybe not going to move out of the way. The socket that forms in the hip itself is actually called the acetabulum, and that is all held together with ligaments as well, and muscle, obviously, from your gluteus maximus, which we'll cover in the next video. Moving right down, so you got your head of your humerus. You also have some turbuckles that actually attach some of the ligaments for the muscle. Moving on down, you have the shaft of the femur. This is actually a pivot joint as well. Moving on down to the knee, we have this little bump here on the plastic model, and actually on this model here, we've got a little bit better picture of it, but it's the patella that makes up the kneecap. Going inferior to that, we have the tib fib, or the tibia and the fibia. Tibia being the thicker of the two bones, and the fibia being the smaller of the two bones. It comes down to the your ankle of your, which are also tarsal bones, as opposed to carpal bones that you see in the wrist, which actually make up the ankle. Your ankle, or your heel, actually is called the calcaneus. And from your tarsals, you have your metatarsals, which are the bones just superior to your tarsals. And of course, right after that, you have your phalanges, which make up your tails. Hopefully that's about it. Hope I didn't miss anything too exciting. And smoking again. And that's it for the bone part of it.